Good evening and welcome to KB We Love Football and tonight's Premier League show. I know it says a predictions league on there, but tonight we are not talking about that. We are talking about what is on everybody's lips, and that is the relegation battle. The battle at the bottom end of the league. So tonight I've got two fantastic panelists with us. We're going to talk everything the bottom end of the Premier League table and see just whereabouts we all believe our teams are going to come. So tonight I've got for Leeds United, it's Birchie. How are we doing, Birchie?
I'm not doing too bad, Phil. What about you?
I'm absolutely fantastic, mate. Absolutely fantastic. Ready for this, what's going to be the best show we've ever done. Yeah, definitely. And down at the bottom there, we've got Mr. Neutral, Mr. Cool, Mr. Calm, Mr. Bit of opinionated about Forest, but we'll let it slide tonight. We have Turbo Tom in the house. How are we doing, Tom?
Really good, gentlemen. Thank you for allowing me to participate in what I'm sure will be a battle of the brains regarding the lower end of the Premier League. I'm here to give my unbiased opinions this evening.
Absolutely fantastic, and that is what we're after: unbiased opinions tonight. Because let's face it, me and Birchie are going to be at it tooth and nail, being two teams that are in that bottom era and fighting to stay up. We've got a few comments coming in already tonight. Tom, you came on earlier. Forest going to drop, apparently so. Birchie's also going to be a banger tonight. It absolutely is. Pete Scott's come on, and he reckons that West Ham are the third team to go down this season. So we're going to have a bit of a show about it. We're going to have a bit of an open discussion about it. We're going to look at those teams tonight that are, let's say, fighting in that battle in the relegation part. We're going to have a chat just about those teams, really, and see who we think is going to fall and who we think is going to fight for those next 4 game weeks. So remember, we are KB We Love Football, and at KB We Love Football, we are not just about the Premier League. We're about a multitude of things. Tomorrow night, for instance, we've got the FPL show, which is all about the Fantasy League. We've got Ratem and Slatem on a Sunday with our wonderful Turbo Tom. And don't forget, because we're coming towards the end of the season, it means one magical thing happening over the spring and summer, and that is the World Cup. We're going to be doing loads here at KB We Love Football in regards to the World Cup. And next week, I'm going to give you a little sneak peek. Next week, we are doing a World Cup special on Wednesday at 8 o'clock. So be there or be square for that one. A nice little early reveal there. Let's crack on with tonight then. Let's have a look at what is going on in the Premier League at the minute. So what I'm going to bring up onto the screen right now is I'm going to bring the table up because we know who's down at the bottom. We know who's battling for that relegation, to avoid that last relegation spot, because we know obviously Wolves have already been relegated and Burnley have now already been relegated. It's that final spot that there's a bit of a battle for. So we're going to bring up the current form. And this is the current form of the last 5 games and where every single Premier League team has sat based on the current form in the last 5 games. This is not biased, by the way. I'm not going to put this up as a biased thing. But there is the current table of form in the last 5 games. Okay? And if you look at that form table, you can see that very high up within that top 10 are 3 of the teams as fighting for relegation. So Forest are sat second at the minute. We've got a fantastic form. We're going really good at the present time. Undefeated under our new manager, Vitor Pereira. Really getting some leg room and really pushing hard on that. Leeds, they've increased there. They're in 6th at the minute. 3 draws and 2 wins in the last 5 games for them. So as you can see, they're climbing up the table quite a lot. And then sat just behind them in 8th place because of that one loss that they had 4 games ago was West Ham. And they're sat in 8th there. Then we're going to look a little bit lower down the table, and we've got to go down quite far to then find the other ones that are battling in that area. So obviously, we know about Burnley and Wolves down at the bottom. I just want to point everyone's attention at number 20 there, Chelsea. Chelsea, one of the big six down there on the form, has lost all 5 of their last games. But one thing that I want to draw people's attention to is the big team there, 14th place Tottenham. Obviously, we know what's going on at Tottenham. Brand new manager to just come in, up in the air with them at the minute, 14th. But one that I want to draw everyone's attention to at the minute is 17th place there. And it's 17th is Newcastle United. Now, statistically and mathematically, Newcastle United can still get relegated. They can still be drawn into this relegation battle. So we're going to look at them as well. Boys, over to you two, really. What do you think to that table? And do you think that table will have an effect on the final 4 games? Or do you think that's just a table? It means nothing.
Well, I think at this stage of the season, it means a lot. Because if your form's up there going into these relegation battles, if you're coming against a team like a Brentford or a Newcastle or even a Chelsea, you're looking like, the chance I'm going to win. So I think the form plays a lot of this game of the season. Like I said, Forest unbeaten in last 5, Leeds unbeaten in last 5. That momentum can carry you to end of the season. And like I said, Burnley, if you come against Burnley, you'll be licking your lips thinking, hang on a minute, I can get another 3 points here. Same as Chelsea, Wolves, Newcastle, Brentford, Everton. I mean, surprising one for me on this, Tottenham up in 14th. I'd have thought they'd been rock bottom. So,
yeah, but Chelsea are worse, mate. Chelsea are worse.
And worst thing about that, I know they've got to scored 0. We won that in them 5 games, which is concerning. Yeah. Lucky enough for them, they're not in this battle. So, but yeah, I think the form table plays a lot because if you carry that momentum each game, this day of the season with 4 games left, momentum and form is what you need.
Absolutely. I mean, look where Leeds are. They're sat in 6th there. They're what, one in terms of the form. They're 1 point there behind Man United, who are currently 3rd in the league. Man City are up there in 3rd place again, 1 point behind Forest, who are now Man City are top of the league. It just shows you the mix, doesn't it? It really does show you the mix of the form. And I think I put it down, particularly with both West Ham, Leeds and Nottingham Forest. I put that down to that worry from the managers and that scary team. Because let's face it, Vitor Pereira has come into Forest. He's the newest manager of those 3 clubs. He's come into Forest. And what he's done at Forest is fantastic. He's swapped the squad round. We're going to look at the squads very, very shortly and discuss those. And the same with Daniel Farke. I think we were talking about this maybe a month ago about Daniel Farke. I feel as though Daniel Farke's been exactly the same. He's had a rocket shoved somewhere, and all of a sudden from that has produced these games. And it's the same with Nuno. I mean, it was very touch and hit and miss for Nuno. Let's say 2 or 3 months ago, it was all over the news. Nuno's going. He's off. He's getting rid of him, and then they've kept hold of him, and now look, they're all 3 of us in regards to Forest, Leeds, and West Ham are all there, and we are on the, we're out of that relegation zone as it currently stands, with 4 games to go. Tom, what's your thoughts?
Hello, sorry. Right. Listen, I mean, we're looking at form tables mean absolutely nothing to me personally. Absolutely nothing. Brighton, top of the form table. Great, whatever. Where are they? Where are they in the league?
They're fighting for European place, mate. I think they're
fair play to them. Whatever. Still a relatively small club. I mean, look. Who's that in second? Nottingham Forest.
Yeah.
Draw, win, win. Right. When it comes to the crunch end of the season, it literally makes no odds for me. It's between 3 teams, in my opinion. Potentially 4. That 4th team being Leeds United. What I will say about all 4 teams that are fighting to stay up, you've got Tottenham, West Ham, Nottingham Forest, and Leeds United. You can probably put a bet on right now that in 12 months' time, the managers of those respective clubs will not be in charge of those teams. Personally, I mean, I don't know what anybody else thinks. I mean, when it comes to Daniel Farke, I think this will be his ceiling now. Will this be the first time he's ever kept a team up in the Premier League? I think it might be,
Yeah.
because he failed at Norwich every other year, didn't he? Yeah, he went down, up, whatever. And I'll come to you in a second, Birchie. I want to ask you a question about Daniel Farke. Forest, yep, they've hit a purple patch, but Forest indeed do have to, and correct me if I'm wrong, Phil, have to play Tottenham Hotspur. Is that correct?
Yeah, Tottenham are on our radar to
when are you playing them?
That is a good question. I can't.
Week before was
we are. I've got all the games.
Forest have to play Leeds as well, do they?
So Forest have got Chelsea. No, we haven't got Spurs. We've got Chelsea, Newcastle, Man United, and Bournemouth. There are 4 games.
Well, I thought you had to play Spurs again.
No, Leeds have got to play Spurs, and I think West Ham have got to play Spurs as well.
Right. So look, it's in the mix. For me, yes, I know I'm trying to bait you, Phil. I think you'll be okay.
Hey, we've got the other side of Tom now. I think you'll be all right. That's a turn up for the books. That one is, mate.
I think Leeds will be okay. I certainly think it'll be between West Ham and Tottenham Hotspur. However, Nuno Espirito Santo, current manager of West Ham, has also managed Nottingham Forest, has also managed Tottenham Hotspur. So, yeah, I mean, look, form tables for me do now. It's what happens during the 90-plus minutes of a game when it comes to this part of the season. So, yeah. And quick one to you, Luke, mate. You stay up relatively comfortably. Are you trusting Daniel Farke with the tools to take you into next season? No. Neither would I. Because I think you can do better than him.
If Farke keeps us up, he got us promoted. If Farke keeps us up, then fair play. He's here the full season at Leeds to try and see what he could do with a bit of backing. He didn't get much backing, but he still got a bit of backing. Never got that at Norwich. So he's had a go at it, and it took until, midway December until he actually realised, hang on a minute, my job's at risk. I need to kick on.
Yeah.
We can't be doing that next season. We can't come into August and play shock until December and do this again next season.
No. This is what I mean. This is completely agree. I know a lot of Leeds fans. I had a call with my mate who was in Tenerife. He was on one of my shows before. Obviously, he was watching the FA Cup semi-final, which wasn't great, was it? But listen, he's not for Farke. And I think most Leeds fans pinned against the wall with a gun to the head, a bit extreme. I don't think they would want him next season. But listen, Leeds United fans, let us know your thoughts. So yeah, in regards to form tables, I don't buy into them. Chelsea are 20th with 5 losses in a row without scoring a goal. Yet they are in the FA Cup final. Right? Let's make no bones about it. And then the next 2 worst teams are Burnley and Wolves. Shock, followed by Newcastle. So
that brings me on to it then, Tom. Are you completely discounting that Newcastle are not in a relegation battle?
100%, yeah.
Mathematically, they could still go down.
Mathematically, it means when people use the phrase mathematically, Phil, that means they're probably all right.
Can I ask you a question then, Tom?
Go for it.
Obviously, you mentioned earlier you said that West Ham's in a relegation battle, so's Tottenham. You went Forest and potentially the Leeds. There were your words.
Mm-hmm.
If we beat Burnley on Friday night, we go above Newcastle. Yeah. Does that mean Newcastle's in it and we're safe, or are we still in it and Newcastle's not?
No, Newcastle won't get dragged into this. I mean, Phil, have you got the table there?
So the current, I've not got it to show, but the current table sits at Newcastle are on 42 points in 14th place.
Yeah.
Leeds are on 40 points in 15th place. Nottingham Forest are on 39 points in 16th place. So essentially, because of obviously how Forest are playing at the minute and the high scoring games that they've got, essentially, if Forest, who have got Chelsea next, beat Chelsea like most teams have been doing recently without conceding, Newcastle have got a tough game, I believe, this week. Let's have a quick look at Newcastle's games. Newcastle have got the tough game against Brighton, and it is a tough game. Brighton are sat in 6th place at the minute, which is Europe for next season. They're going to be eager to keep in that spot there. I feel genuinely that we could also then end up sitting higher than Newcastle after this weekend, based on the fact that we've got Chelsea. If we beat them by a significant goals, obviously Leeds, if you beat Burnley, we could both end up frog leaping Newcastle. That's going to drop Newcastle into 16th, Leeds put up into 14th, and then Forest will go into 15th. And actually then that drags Newcastle, could be potentially this weekend, into that slot. I
mean, as somebody who is not a big fan of Newcastle United and said owners, I'd love that. I'd love for that to happen. I've got lots of Newcastle mates who I'd love to ring up and laugh at, but it's not going to happen, is it? I don't think. I think is it Blackpool hold the record for the most points? Oh, I think they get 42 or 43 points and stay in the Premier League, something like that. And they still and they got relegated. Should I say? No, I wouldn't put Newcastle in that bracket. Don't get me wrong. If Leeds and Forest indeed do win their games this weekend, I would potentially take them out of that relegation bracket, and I'd say it's between West Ham and Spurs. So listen, it's one of them. It is one of them. I mean, for me, right as things stand now, I just can't see Tottenham getting relegated. Because I'm assuming we're all roughly the same age-ish. Spurs have been an ever-present in the Premier League since it was founded. I just can't see them dropping. And one would imagine, albeit against Wolves, I think they'll kick on now, and I think they can climb to safety. And it's going to be a case of who does best out of the four. Obviously, Leeds and Forest have that buffer on points, but look, when it gets close, form tables go out the window. It's all about
absolutely.
Who's the real team, who can stand up and who can, take this on the chin and say, right, pull your trousers up, pull your socks up, pull whatever up, right, and get the points you need to get over the line and then look into next season.
Absolutely, mate. We've got loads of comments coming in tonight. So thank you for all your comments. Your comments that come in make the show. It makes it easier for us. And also a bit of fan interaction is always great. Bushy's been on. He's just saying, lads, some bad noise in the background. I think that's all been overcome now. The real Phill Smith's come on and said, Falk stays for me. He will be able to do so much more with some money and actually being able to spend. That's come from the real Phill Smith there. And then the KB Terrace Talk Millers fan channel. Typical Phil. Didn't put up the correct table just because it makes Forest look good. My pick for relegation is still Forest. We are going to ask everybody's pick for their relegation team a little bit later on in the show. So that will be great if you can all comment in who you think will be relegated come the end of the season. So let's go on and have a look at those tables then, guys. Let's have a look at not the tables, the games. So let's pick a random team. Let's start with you, Bertie. Let's look at Leeds games. The final 4 games, obviously, your first one being on Friday, 8 o'clock at home against Burnley. What do you think? Pretty straightforward.
You expect it to be, but nothing's ever straightforward. I mean, only positive thing we have is tend to late kickoffs for us this season tends to end be a win. So at home under the floodlights tends to end be a win. So I'm hoping. I mean, we should be beating Burnley. Let's be honest.
Absolutely. I mean, Burnley have got nothing to play for, only a little bit of dignity, but they've lost all that anyway. So, as far as I'm concerned, I think that should be an easy Leeds win there. And then obviously you've got a bit of a gap until the following Monday, not the Monday after, but the following one after that. So you've got quite a few games to go through and other teams to watch and see how that table changes a little bit. But on Monday, the 11th of May, you are away. Again, an 8 o'clock kickoff. I feel sorry for the Leeds fans having to drive down to London and coming back after that game. Spurs, so one of your fellow relegation battling teams there. Are you hopeful for that one, or are you a little bit more concerned on the Spurs game, Bertrand?
A little concerned because when we play in London, it never seems to go our way. We very rarely win down there. That's been that for a long time. I don't know why. For some reason, that area of England just eludes us. But the thing is with that game, I've said this a few times. I was talking about this at Wembley just on Sunday. We don't have to win that game. Spurs are chasing us. The points we've got gaps so far on Spurs, a draw will stop from Spurs catching us. So it's, that's as long as we don't lose that game, then I want to win it, obviously, but a draw will be enough just to keep the gap on Spurs.
Do you think Falk might be thinking the same kind of process, being the sort of manager that he is, let's play for a draw? Obviously, it's not a wise decision to do because, you just never know. You try and play for a draw and all of a sudden you find yourself 2-0, 3-0 down.
I hope he's not thinking that because since he's had a rocket up his ass, he tries to win every game. So I'm hoping he still wants to do it because he should be thinking if he beats Burnley, relegation's relegated but still there, and Spurs who are close. If he beats them two, then we're safe. We've 6 points left to play after that. So I'm hoping he's thinking we beat Spurs, we're safe.
Yeah.
So okay. I'm hoping he's thinking that way. So's the team.
Yeah. Then the following Sunday, you are back at home. And you're playing against Brighton, 3:00 on the Sunday. That's not going to be an easy game. By that point, Brighton, I don't know, they may have picked up another 3, maybe 4 points against their two teams that they're playing against in game week 35 and 36. They're going to be battling really tough there to stay in that European spots, aren't they? And I'm sure Brighton fan Dan will be absolutely buzzing that they're sat there and maybe able to rub something in Bush's face with his egotistical that the Brighton teams of the world shouldn't be in the Premier League. Yet they're sat there in a potential European spot. So I think by that Sunday, Brighton are really going to be chomping at the bit to make sure that they're staying within that spot. So that's not going to be a very easy game for Leeds at all, is it?
No, it's going to be a tough game, but on the positive side, we are at home, which we tend to do quite well this season. It's the only thing we seem to have this season. We just started picking up points away from home recently. Well, first win when it's a couple of games ago against Man United. So that, hopefully, because it's at home, we should play out with the atmosphere behind. I mean, if we've stayed up, if we have managed to stay up enough points from the Spurs game, the atmosphere should be great at that game. That will spur them on for another win. So
absolutely, yeah. The other role reversal on that is if you go out and you batter Burnley, and then you get a draw or you beat Spurs, essentially, you're pretty much safe at that point, aren't you? I think 6 points will make you completely safe. I think it's the same with Forest, really. I think I calculated 4 points for both Leeds and Forest would actually keep us safe, essentially. So although you'd be going into that game at home and wanting to improve on your what is already a safe position, at the end of the day, you can go all out attack and actually it won't really matter because you are safe, essentially, aren't you? So hopefully by that Brighton game, you should be safe.
That's me. Hopefully, when it comes to Brighton, it's just a game of pride, basically, between both teams. Whoever wants to win wins, because, like I said, hopefully we'll be safe by that point.
Yeah.
I mean, if we slip up to Burnley and Spurs, and then the pressure's on at that game, it's completely different. Brighton could be licking their lips at us, or we could be panicking. So.
Yeah, exactly. And if it does come to that, that brings me on to your final game of the season is obviously against West Ham. So that's another team that are within that relegation area. So Brighton's your only team that isn't in that relegation battle, but they're in their own battle to stay into Europe. If you do mess up, say, against Burnley and you get a draw, maybe you get a draw against Spurs, you're still in that relegation battle, depending on how the other games go. You could lose against Brighton, essentially. And it actually, for Leeds United, could then fall down to that last game against West Ham.
Well, yeah, that's a concerning issue because, once again, it's in London and away from home. I mean, it worked well for us last time away from home because last game of seasons we'd end up beating Brentford and staying up. So, but if West Ham's fine to stay up as well as we are, then that could be a harsh game to play against because you don't want to be in that position, either team. And it all comes down to us up for it the most. And I do think if it comes down to that game in stay up, I do think West Ham will beat us. I just think if we've messed up against Burnley, Spurs and Brighton, then I think West Ham are going to be licking lips and they'll beat us because we're bottled the last three. So if you can't beat Burnley, you slip up against Tottenham, who's in worse position. No reason why West Ham shouldn't beat us. So if it comes down to it at the end where West Ham is stay up and we're already safe, then obviously West Ham are going to look at it. They need to win. So it's a tough game to play. I mean, I'd rather not play any relegation battling team at this point. I'd rather play like your Arsenals and Man City at this point.
Yeah. No, I know where you're coming from on that one. Particularly Man United because they can't seem to beat anyone in the lower part of the league. So that'd be great.
Yeah.
So let's have a quick look at West Ham then, Tom. I want your opinions on West Ham's game. So obviously West Ham have got Brentford this weekend on Saturday. That's not going to be an easy game. I know Brentford are coming off a little bit of a shaky couple of games. But essentially that's not going to be an easy game because, again, Brentford are up there still able to try and push and get into those European points. They're sat in ninth at the minute on 48 points. And obviously Brighton are sat in sixth on 50 points. So between it's looking like between 11th and 6th, essentially, are potential European spots at the minute. So obviously Brentford are sitting in that. They're going to be hoping for a bit of European action. Do you see that as a tough game for West Ham or not?
Well, just quickly to speak about Leeds. If Leeds go down with those remaining fixtures, I think if I was a club on the peripheries of the periphery of the relegation battle, I couldn't ask for better fixtures than what Leeds have. So if Leeds go down from that point, then they thoroughly deserve to go down. On to West Ham. Now, this is slightly different for West Ham. This is possibly the worst fixtures they could have. Like you say, Phil, they've got Brentford chomping at Europe. Then they've got to go and play Arsenal, who are trying to win the league. Then they've got to go to Newcastle at home at St. James's Park on a Sunday at 5:30, which is a really strange kickoff time. Yeah. Unless that means 4:30. Is this of the Spanish app? I don't know. And then final game of the season, West Ham Leeds. For me, if they don't get, if they mess the first two games up, which I think they will, and even if they get something at Newcastle, that final game against Leeds, it could be all done and dusted. So listen, look, that's a horrible set of fixtures for the Hammers. So yeah, no, I can't see them. If I had to say that's a loss, a draw, maybe if I'm being kind, and then if there's something to play for in the last one, maybe a win. Because I don't think Leeds will be in any trouble at this point, so Leeds won't be that bothered. And it's in London, as Luke said. They don't very much win in London. So they can maybe get, if I'm being generous here, 4 points. 4 points. Loss, draw, win 4 points from the remaining 4 fixtures for me, mate.
Which essentially will probably not be enough for.
Well, this is it. This is it, isn't it?
Let's have a look at Spurs' games, because obviously there's a lot of talk in the media. There's a lot of talk that it is a 2-leg battle now. They are kind of talking that Forest and Leeds are pretty much safe, not mathematically, but pretty much safe. And the actual battle is between West Ham and Spurs. So let's have a look at Spurs' games in relation to West Ham's games. So obviously Spurs, I mean, look at that game. I mean, Aston Villa are on the ropes as it is. Obviously, we play them tomorrow night in the Europa League. If we beat them at the City Ground tomorrow night in the first leg of the Europa League semi-final, based on our performance, how we've been in the Europa League, and also how our bounce of performances have been, that's going to be a massive hit to Aston Villa. And actually, there's a big potential there that, 7 o'clock on a Sunday night, Spurs could actually do something and possibly pick something up there. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Then obviously you've got the Leeds game. They've got Chelsea as well, but obviously we know where Chelsea are at the minute. We know their performances have been very lackluster. Chelsea are still sat in them European spots. They're probably going to be trying to think about pushing to stay in them, but based on their performances and what's going off at Chelsea at the minute, I don't know. And then Spurs' last game of the season, 4 o'clock on the Sunday against Everton. Again, Everton sat in that little chunk between 11th and 6th for that European spot. So again, I don't think Everton are going to quite. I think they're slightly out the peripheral to get that European slot, but by no means Everton are not going to go in that lackadaisy. So I actually think, I mean, a lot of people are talking about Forest games, and we'll look at Forest games in a minute, but everybody's been going on about the Forest games. I actually think statistically, Spurs have got some real tough games.
I think with Spurs are on a par with West Ham here with their fixtures, right? And I just want to say the scheduling for football right now for the top flight. I'm so glad I do not support a Premier League team, because I could not be bothered to watch my team play at 7 o'clock on a Sunday night.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, something might change, because I know there's a possibility of a double game week and a miss week because of the FA Cup, so on and so forth. So the times may change a little bit, and obviously scheduling between, particularly those last 2 games of the season, scheduling and times might change a little bit if they're going to advertise them on TV.
Well, what's that one there? Chelsea v Spurs, 8:15 on a Tuesday. Jesus Christ! Right. Anyway,
luckily they're both London clubs.
Yeah, well, yeah, but I mean, there'll be a lot of tourists. Villa Spurs, depends, like you say, Phill, what happens against your mob. Is it tomorrow, is it?
Tomorrow night, yeah. Tomorrow night.
Where's it at? Villa Park or
City Ground for the first leg?
City Ground first leg. So, depends what happens. Typically, teams that play in Europe midweek don't doing brilliantly well on a weekend. But then again, it's a Thursday, Sunday game. We'll see. And it's at 7 o'clock. I get it's a bank holiday weekend. I'm looking at the points here. Depending what happens with Villa, if they lose, say, 2-0 to you, or if they lose to you, they might try and think, what do we do here? I think Spurs maybe could be good value for a point in that one. Spurs v Leeds, I think it's the one they're massively targeting. That's the one they'll be targeting, because that is, no disrespect, Luke, in theory, the poorest team they have to play in this run. So they'll be hoping to get 3 points out of Leeds. I think Leeds will probably be safe by this point. So, yeah, I'm going to give Spurs the win there. Spurs never beat Chelsea. Never mind, beat Chelsea at home. 0 points or 0 points. And then the final game of the season, depending what's riding on it, if Everton are in the mix for that top 7 and Spurs are fighting to stay up, who knows what could happen. So I'm going to give Spurs out of that run in there 5 points.
Wow, 5 points. 5 points. Could be enough. Could be enough for Spurs. Could be enough. But who knows? Who knows? Who knows where it's all going? Then let's have a quick look at the Newcastle games before we get on to my wonderful team. Let's have a look at those Newcastle games. I mean, Newcastle are in that mix. They really are. And genuinely, I worry for Newcastle a little bit. You know, they've got Brighton on Saturday. Let's look at that one to start with. So they're at home, yeah, they're at St James Park, but Brighton are sat there, and that in that top 7, and they're not going to want to let that slide. And providing that Brighton show up, it could be, you know, in my eyes, I think that could end up being a 3-0 victory for Brighton. I really think Brighton could really show Newcastle a thing or two. The second game then the following Sunday is the Forest game. I would be I'd be more inclined to make a comment on this next week, because obviously Forest have got 2 games before them. Well, it's essentially they've got 3 games before that game, because obviously they've got Villa tomorrow night, then they've got Chelsea at the weekend, and then they've got Villa again next week for the other leg of the Europa League for the semi-final. If those 3 games come out well, and at that point Forest are sat there going, yeah, we're in the Europa final now, I worry for Newcastle in that game. I really do. And I'm not just saying that because it's Forest and it's my team. I just worry for Newcastle in that game. West Ham, that could be their crucial game. If they don't pick up 3 points from that West Ham game, I think that puts Newcastle right in that spot, in that 17th, 18th spot at that point. And then it's down to the Fulham game for them. And Fulham don't need to prove anything. They're in the mid-table, you know, just lower mid-table. They don't have to prove anything, essentially. So I actually genuinely, looking at those 4 games there, I really worry for Newcastle. I think it could be. And I said it the other week on your Sunday show, Tom, you know, ignoring everything else, think about Newcastle. And genuinely, I think I was one of the first people to mention that. Then since then, all I've seen on TikTok is people talking about they're worried for Newcastle because of what's happening at Newcastle.
Well, if you think about it, just look at them fixtures there. Like I said, we played Burnley on the Friday night. We leapfrog Newcastle, and they do lose to Brighton. That box is safe, and they take our spot. If you win your game, you're on the same points, but obviously on the goal swing, whatever goal turns out. But you'll beat them, you're above them. Yeah. West Ham won 2 games prior to this as well. West Ham could even leapfrog them a couple of games later.
Yeah.
So they could be fighting with Tottenham last game of the season, if that's like really that.
So that's what I mean. By Sunday the 17th of May, that game there could be, well, West Ham know that they're just about safe. They've leapfrogged Newcastle already. So West Ham are probably likely to be in 16th, Newcastle in 17th, and at that point, Spurs in 18th. Actually, it could come to that last game of Newcastle versus Fulham for them to actually either survive or not. I know it's all a hypothetical. And
it's massively hypothetical.
But
hypotheticals happen.
Just look at it. And I'm concerned for Newcastle because their performances in recent weeks has been awful. There's something toxic going off at that club. And I don't think it's all down to the manager. I think there's other things happening at that club that is making it a toxic environment. And we've seen what toxic environments do to players and to teams. Look at Man United at the beginning of the season. Look at Forest midway through the season with Ange Postecoglou. Look at Leeds earlier on in the season. The toxic environment, whether it be the manager, whether it be something behind the scenes, massively affects those teams. And that is where Newcastle is. Unfortunately for Newcastle, it's come at the back end of the season. They're gonna struggle. Mark my words. Mark my words.
Right. Okay. So what we'll say, gentlemen, is this. The saving grace for Newcastle is the amount of points they are on currently and the the remaining fixtures of Spurs and West Ham. Right? So, listen. I would love nothing more than Newcastle to get relegated. Trust me. I've got lots of ex-Newcastle colleagues. Ex-Newcastle, that sounds ridiculous. I've got a lot of ex-colleagues who are Newcastle United fans. And I would love nothing more than to leave them voice notes telling them how happy I am that they have dropped and blah, blah, blah. But I just cannot see it. I can't see it. Newcastle, yeah. I'll go through the points again. Is Chris Wood fit, Phil?
Yes, he is.
Right. Okay. Then that answers one question.
How
Newcastle.
many
know.
points in that, Tom? How many points there?
I'm going to go Brighton win that. Forest against Newcastle. Yeah, Forest will probably win that. Newcastle against West Ham. I'm going Newcastle victory, and then Fulham, Newcastle, depending on what's happening. Do you know what? I'm going to give Newcastle 3 points, 3 definite points. Where it comes from, I don't know, but that'll be enough for them.
It will be enough for them.
Yeah, they need to win one game.
I just can't see it. I just can't see it.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see where that lies. Okay, let's have a look at Forest games then before we move on. So these are the Forest games. Monday, Bank Holiday Monday at 3:00. We have got Chelsea away at Stamford Bridge. Tough game for us. Very, very tough game. It's at Stamford Bridge. It's on a Bank Holiday Monday. It's at 3:00 in the afternoon. It is a tough game. But I'm basing all this on Forest and have been under Vito Pereira. Obviously, the bubble's got to burst at some point, but I would be happy with a point in that game. Genuinely, I think that's a tough game, tough place to go. I'd be happy for a point, but based on our performances, I can see us sneaking a win on that, maybe a 2-1 or something like that. But I'd be more than happy with a point on that. Then the following Sunday, obviously, Newcastle. I just think we're going to batter Newcastle. I think it's going to be another one of those 3-0, 4-0 victories. I just think Newcastle have lost it all. Then we've got the following Sunday, we've got Man United away at Old Trafford. Again, tough game, and I'm not going to deny it. Man United are a tough team to beat, especially at Old Trafford at the minute under Michael Carrick. But by that point, we are going to be looking down the barrel of possibly the final of the Europa League. We're going to be going into that game going, well, they drew and they struggled to draw with us at the City Ground in the first half of the season with that. I'm just waiting for Bushy to bite on that one. I don't know. I just feel as though, again, we could possibly pick up a point from that. And then, obviously, we've got Bournemouth at the end of the season. Bournemouth, yes, they are sat in that fight for the European spots, but I don't think it's going to come down to that. I think Brighton are going to steal that and possibly another for that 7th spot. So I'm going to go with a Forest win at home on that one. So without being, big-headed about my club there, I think we can pick up 8 points from those 5.
Shut up.
Can I just say on that, Phil? If you play them first 2 games against Chelsea and Newcastle and it don't go your way,
yeah.
If Man United beat you, Bush ain't gonna let you live that down.
Oh, I know he won't.
If he puts you in that danger zone after the loss today,
but remember this. And bookmark this one. If it's that magic word, if. Because if Forest go to Old Trafford and beat Man United, I ain't ever going to let that drop. Not in a million fucking years am I ever going to let that
keep you up as well.
Yeah. If we beat Chelsea, I think we could get a draw in that. I genuinely do. And I think we can get a draw at Old Trafford. We might lose that. So I would go for 7 points out of that lot because I think we're going to beat Newcastle. I think we're going to beat Bournemouth. We can easily beat those 2 teams. The other 2 are tough. Maybe we lose one and draw one. Maybe we lose them both and we only get 6 points. Again, it's enough. More than enough.
I think in that, I think they beat Newcastle with form where they're playing, like you said, with Toxic going off. I think Chelsea might start picking up now after the FA Cup. So I think that'll be a draw. Man United could be a draw, but I think come the Man United game, if you get 3 points Newcastle and 1 at Chelsea, I think that's safe anyway.
It is. 4 points is safe. 4 points is
enough.
Bushy has bitten, guys. Bushy has bitten. It is official. We know it's Bushy behind the KB Terrace Talk Millers fan channel. Forest are going down, trust me. Yeah, we'll see about that one. And he's also, you are getting spanked every game. I don't see them getting another point, honestly. But look how he battered Sunderland, mate. Absolutely battered Sunderland.
Yeah, but that's now to shout about, is it?
Hold on. It is. At the Stadium of Light.
Stadium of
Stadium of shit.
We've beat Rotherham beat Sunderland there. Don't worry about that. right? I'm looking at your fixtures here.
You reckon 22nd place Rotherham, who have already been relegated out of League One into League Two, they're going to be playing the likes of whoever next? What, Dagenham and Redbridge? Who are you playing next season? Who are you lucky enough to play next season? And you're telling me to go to the Stadium of Light and beat Sunderland?
No. I'm saying we've done it in the past.
Oh, right. What, in the heydays?
They're a different team at home this season, Sunderland, and that I'll be honest, that surprised me.
It was a freak result. It was a freak result. That it was one of them.
Incredible.
As
well, to be honest.
She's being very vocal in the comments. Forest are not winning another game. Is that including the Europa games as well, Bushy? Do you reckon Forest are going to get knocked out in the semis of that? And bookmark this one, guys. Bookmark this one. Bushy is saying very loudly, "We smashed them home and away."
We did.
Away.
We did.
It was 2-2.
No, he's on about Rotherham.
Oh, is he on about Rotherham?
Yeah.
Right.
But like I said, I'm looking at your fixtures, Phil. Chelsea, lose. Newcastle, I think you might win. United, lose. Bournemouth, lose. I think you get 3 points.
You think we'll lose against Bournemouth at home at City Ground?
Absolutely, yeah.
Even if at that point where all the pressure is on to stay out of relegation, you think we'll still lose?
3 points will be enough for you, surely.
No, 4 points is enough. 3 points is not enough.
Yeah, but that's as we sit now, isn't it?
Yeah, as we sit now, yeah.
Yeah. So I think 3 points, you're fine.
But don't forget, at this point we're playing Spurs and West Ham, so the 3 points would be enough because if they slip up to us, safe anyway.
Exactly.
So we could happily do it for you at Newcastle if we beat Spurs. So
got one of my five-a-side buddies in tonight. Can't be any worse than Phill playing five-a-side, to be fair. Actually, this week I was absolutely awful. Couldn't hit a barn door. But last week, managed to score three amazing goals they were as well. I'm harbouring an injury this week. That's what I'm going to put it down to, harbouring an injury. So they are the games, guys. They're the games what's coming up. So let's have a look at the physical squads. We're flying through the time now. Let's have a look at the physical squads who played the last 11. I'm going to focus on Forest first, and the reason there is a reason behind me looking at the Forest 11 to start with. So this was the Forest 11 based on the last game that we played where we battered Sunderland 5-0. Obviously, there was subs during the game and so on and so forth, but that was the starting 11. Now, that is the first time this season, I believe, that we've played 4-4-2. The very first time this season where we played two up front. What they're realizing very quickly that particularly Hutchinson down that right-hand side whips them balls in. Ola Ainu's coming down with that as well. Morgan Gibbs-White down on the left, cutting in like Cho was doing. Obviously, Cho's injured at the minute. That's Callum Hudson-Odoi. But by sticking both Wood and Jesus in there, now you've doubled your chances of obviously those cross balls coming in, which Forest are notorious for, to actually land on the head of somebody. And obviously, Wood and Jesus are two classic ones for that. So I'm looking at that and I'm going, that's a squad and a half. Now, obviously, Jay Kuno is injured now. So he got injured in that game, got taken off. So he's now injured. Obviously, we've got the Europa League tomorrow night. So I don't know how Vito Pereira is going to look at that, whether he's going to rest anyone or not. My only concern at the minute is that back four. Obviously, Aina, Milenkovic and Williams, absolutely fine, but who they slot in that slot. I know who is going to slot in, and every single Forest fan is not going to agree with it, and that is obviously Morato. Sticking Morato in at the back there. He's the only fit player, and he is a unit, don't get me wrong, but my Lord, does he scare me. And I think that could be Forest, particularly against the stronger teams like Chelsea and Man United, that could be our downfall moving forward. So I think we've got to kind of hope that Murillo makes some headway with his injury that he's currently harbouring, or maybe even Jay Kuna not as bad as we think it might be. But besides that, I mean, I'm looking at that. I'm going, that's a tough squad to beat.
I mean, look, when you've got a Chris Wood in your team, You've got to play that kind of formation, personally. Arsenal are winning 1-0, by the way, at Madrid. Yeah, I mean, it's a solid team. It's a team that will stay in the Premier League this season, albeit not the way they would have envisaged staying up this season. I think they probably would have wanted to kick on, but you've got an absolute batshit owner and a director of football. Is Edu still the director of football?
With very limited job duties, yes.
Jesus, right. I mean, how to self-implode. And look, I wish you all the best in the Europa, the UEFA Cup. I'm going to call it what it is, the UEFA Cup. And hopefully you get it over the line. But look, that's a team that'll keep you up, mate. It will.
And thing is with that team, and obviously Chris Wood's been missing a lot this season due to his injury. Yeah. That is like a fresh player at this point in the team.
Absolutely.
It's like a new signing, like you signed him for the last game. And you know Chris Wood, I mean, I love Chris Wood at Leeds. He was incredible. He can score goals. He's one of those strikers who only needs that one chance, right place, right time. He scores. So with fresh legs he's got after injury, it's like a new signing. That could be dangerous for any team you come up against. And fresh Chris Wood, new signing, I think he's going to keep you up alone.
I like that confidence. Lots more comments coming in. Bushy, Wanker didn't want me to play after I spanked him at snooker. Wasn't me, Bushy. It was the bunch of pussyholes that are in that WhatsApp group for the football, the five-a-side. Ended up playing four-a-side. We did play four-a-side. Bushy here, look at this. Mr. Large Testicles. Wanted four-a-side. I'd have played and beat you all on my own. 8 versus 1, I still win. So Bushy, very confident. So boys that are watching, that are in the WhatsApp group, that are in the football WhatsApp group, Bushy is the guy who I invited and said he could come to last week, but obviously you all said then it'd be odd sides, blah 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 blah, so he wouldn't come. So if you want to let him come next week and he can take on 9 of us or even 10 of us and do 10-1, see how he plays then, shall we? But that's the guy. So 2-foot challenges allowed. I see Leeds losing a fair few of them games. I don't see them picking up a point away from. I met Calvin Phillips in Huddersfield today as well. Fantastic. My friend Joe Calladine, he's a director on one of my businesses. Forest Best makes sure Spurs go down. He's an Arsenal fan, so we'll be watching the Arsenal game tonight. And I'm giving him a load of stick for bottling it. And then Bob Dude's on also. Evening, everyone. How are we doing? Hope everyone is doing well. We are absolutely fantastic, Bob Dude, and we hope you are too. So that's the Forest squad. Enough for them. Best team in the world. Let's go on to Leeds United. Let's drop that one in. Let's just drop Bob Dude's comment off. There's the Leeds United squad from the last game. 3-4-2-1. Some good players in there.
It's the Christmas tree formation, isn't it?
The Christmas tree formation.
I think you play it December, so I'm happy in playing that Christmas tree formation.
Your player that you need to wrap up and make sure he just continues to play the way he's playing is Okafor there, mate. Definitely.
He'll be gone next season. But anyway,
yeah, it will be. It's incredible to be. You watch him play. He's like when we had Rafinha. He takes it himself and is everywhere. I mean, I think he's on 6 in 6. I think it is now. And it's come at the right time. We needed it. But, I mean, you've got Ethan Ampadu in midfield for me. When he's missing, we're missing. I mean, when he's on his form, he controls that midfield. He's a proper captain. That's why I like him so much. He's a proper captain. I mean, and another thing, since we replaced Perry with Darlow, I mean, Darlow's incredible anyway. I always liked him. And he's pulled off some cracking saves the past few weeks. I mean, we could have conceded against Wolves if it weren't for him. I mean, we could have been the same as Man United if we could saves against Man United. So, I mean, he's been like a fresh player since he's come in. But a downfall for me is Calvin Lewis missing too many. At this stage of the season, we need him to score them. One thing I will say about him, he does a lot off the ball, which is helping the team out a lot. So I love him to get a few more goals at the end of the season, just to push on. Just finish on a high. I mean, a couple against Burnley would be nice as well. So hopefully he finds his form against Burnley. We'll
I think your Burnley game's your confidence booster, isn't it? I think your Burnley game is the one that you've got to go out there and.
I think a lot will be put into that one. A lot will be put into that one.
Yeah. I mean, the beauty you've got, I mean, some of your subs as well. Obviously, you've got Joe Rodon on the bench. Who else have you got? You've got, I'm just looking through, you've got even your Longstaff, Sean Longstaff. I mean, great second half player, isn't he? Great one to bring on if someone's feeling that little bit of too much in a game, particularly like your bigger games that you've got coming on. I think Leeds United are safe. I think all in all, Leeds United are confident safe.
Leeds just have to dust themselves down after the weekend and think, right, let's go and beat Burnley, and then let's prepare for next season under a different manager, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I do think that team will change for Burnley because Rodon's going to come back in the team now if he's fit. You cannot not start him at the back. I mean, Long Ampadu was that spine. So whether that means... Well, Justin's been incredible, so it's a tough call. I mean, this stage of the season, when your players are playing well, you need Rodon back in that squad. But then I can't drop Justin, so do we drop BL? This is a problem, isn't it? You don't know who to take out your team at this point. But
no, you've got to look at what's working and what's not, haven't you? And that team's working for you at the minute. So
keep it.
Why mess with it if it's working? A few more comments coming in. Bob, dude, I'm good, thank you. I'm looking forward to Saturday's trip to St James Park, Newcastle. Away, LA. Anyway, this is a relegation special, so I'll stop talking about Brighton and Hove Albion. Yes, but you are talking about Newcastle, mate, and you could do me a massive favour by beating Newcastle at St James Park. So on next week's show, even though it is a World Cup special, I can shout from the hilltops that, yes, Newcastle are still in trouble. And Steve Cherry's on tonight. Bushy is a decent player, to be fair. Well, he was back in the day. Yes, but now he's 65. He's got his bus pass. He's pulling his pension. He hasn't got the legs for it anymore, mate. He likes to take it nice and steady with a game of snooker, which he is very good at, actually. And I'm surprised he's not tried to collar me and take him around the golf course and take it nice and steady instead of asking to play football. Very, very surprised at that, particularly the age he's at. We are running out of time, so I'm not going to go massively into any of the other teams. Let's face it, Leeds and Forest are the most important. So I've got a question for all the people in the comments based on tonight's discussions, based on our thoughts, based on our biased thoughts for our squads for Forest and Leeds. Who do we think, and I'm going to come to the panelists very shortly, who do we think will take that third relegation spot? Who's it going to be? So I want to hear everybody's comments. We've got loads of people listening, so it'd be great. Just drop the team in that you think will get relegated this season based on everything. Bob Dude's already gone with Tottenham. That is a guaranteed for him. I'm going to come to you first, please, Birchie. Who do you think, based on what we've talked about tonight and the upcoming games, who do you think is most likely to get that last spot in 18?
Well, West Ham and Tottenham have got the toughest games, haven't they? Let's be honest, out of it all. I hope West Ham go down. But I would love to see Tottenham go down. So I'm going to say West Ham. I think Tottenham will survive. I do. I think they'll just sneak it.
A few more comments. Steve Cherry's coming. How old is he? I thought he was the youngest on here, other than Tiny, I guess. No, he is not younger. I know I look, quite old, but I'm actually relatively young. But no, Bushy is he's pushing 50, I think, somewhere around that mark. No, I believe he's 45, 46, somewhere around there. That is his age. So, like I say, not far off receiving his tin hat and his bus pass. John's in tonight. Evening, John. I will get round to ringing you, John. I know I've been saying it for the last week or so. I will get round to giving you a shout. All depends if they keep their shirt on, as every time a player has taken their shirt off, they have thrown away the game. Odds on Phill messaging John this week, 4,000 million to 1. Yeah, probably, John, to be fair. It's hard work being an international man of mystery like me. So, Bertie, you're going with West Ham. Tom, come on. Tell us who you think's going down.
Having had my eyes open with the fixtures that West Ham and Spurs have got, I'm going to go... Yeah, I've already said what points. I'm going to go West Ham drop. I think, yeah, West Ham for me.
West Ham.
Yeah.
Okay. Keep the teams coming in, please. Keep the teams coming in based on who you think is going to hit that relegation spot. John, tonight is a relegation special. We have talked about Toon being part of that relegation battle, as per se. But it'd be interesting, John, who you think is going to go down this season. Let us know. Steve Cherry, he doesn't look it, lol. What cream is he using? This is a PG show. I can't tell you what cream he's using. Or Botox. Yeah, maybe. Maybe he's on a bit of the Botox. And Steve Cherry is also going with West Ham. Keep those comments coming in. It'd be great to hear who is going down. I'm gonna go completely out of the ordinary with this one. I think Spurs may just squeeze out of it. I think it's going to be close, but I'm edging my bets and I'm sticking with it. I'm going with Newcastle United.
Well, I mean, it's fair enough. I mean, it's delusional, but yeah, I mean, it's fair enough.
Mate, that's my middle name. That is my middle name.
It can happen.
And John, funnily enough, being a two-man himself, is also going with Newcastle will get relegated. I'm just edging all the odds. I'm edging all the bets. I'm looking at where West Ham are at the minute. I think it will be close, but I think it's going to be a battle. I don't think it's going to be with West Ham in that battle. I think it's going to be a battle between Spurs and Newcastle. And just going off what you've said tonight, Tom, about Spurs, never going down there. I just feel as though Newcastle are going to edge their bets and probably be the biggest downfall after Arsenal bottling everything this season, maybe.
Yeah.
Brighton Van Dan depends on Brighton this weekend. Haha. Yeah, no, definitely, mate. And I hope we lose the rest of our games. Eddie Howe can get sacked, then we can all move on. So a big reset, a little bit like Rotherham United. That's one for you, John. Your two teams, mate, both of them getting relegated this season. That could be really, really bad. What a bad season that would be. Right, we're going to finish the show on one little feature. So obviously, we talked about the relegation battle. We've kind of all agreed, apart from Bushy, that Forest and Leeds are going to likely to survive. Yeah, we're likely to survive. It's pretty much, it's a cusp away, isn't it? It's that whisper away. So before tonight's show, I asked Birchie and myself. I asked myself, yes, I did, to pick 3 signings for the summer. 3 summer signings for Forest and 3 summer signings for Leeds United. And the 3 signings are 3 completely different signings. I asked Birchie and myself to pick a player that they would just love to have in their squad, but that's feasible. No Erling Haalands of the world, but that is feasible based on category of whatever. One from a possible relegated team, so a team that's likely to leave the Premier League and drop down into the Championship. So one of the ones that we've been talking about tonight. And also one player from the Championship that it could potentially be promoted to the Premier League. So someone maybe in the playoffs, somebody maybe that's already guaranteed to come up next season. So that's 3 players, one who we would love, one that's going to be relegated, and one that's likely to be promoted or could be promoted. So I'm going to put the pictures up on the screen, and
Phill, quick one.
Mate.
The door's just gone. Would you keep it talking for one more minute? I'll be back in 1 second.
Of course I will. Yeah. So those players that we've had, we've chose them, haven't we, Birchie? It's been completely anonymous, although I have seen Birch's, because obviously I've had to put them up on the screen. I think Birch's are pretty good shouts, really. Birchie's not seen mine, but what we're going to do when Tom comes back, obviously his doorbell's rang at the minute, Tom's going to rush back and he's going to say to us who he thinks out of those potential transfers, who has chosen the better transfers and why, most importantly. But I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments. If you were to pick one player, we haven't got enough time to go through 3 players, but if you could pick one realistic signing in the summer for your team, who would it be? So, obviously we've got Bob doing in tonight for Brighton. We've got John in tonight for Newcastle. Steve Cherry, I don't know, mate. Are you a Premier League fan? If so, who is your Premier League team? Joe, if you're still watching, I think you're probably watching the Arsenal game, which is currently Arsenal are 1-0 up against Atletico Madrid. It'd be interesting to see and hear. No worries, mate. It'd be interesting to see and hear if there was one signing that our viewers, teams could sign this season. Realistically, who would it be? John's already come straight in. The Wolves lad, Mane. Good shout, John. Good shout. Very good shout. So let's put these pictures up and we'll have a quick talk through them. So I'm going to put yours up first, Birchie. These are Birchie's 3 signings. So for anybody that doesn't know who those signings are, Birchie, take them away.
Yeah, for a realistic signing that we could feasibly afford, I've gone for Trafford. I think keepers where we've lacked most this season, and I think when he's on his game, Trafford, I think he's a great keeper. So I think it's a place we need to improve on, and I think I don't mind Darlow, but I think he'd be the better choice for me.
Okay.
And if West Ham were to go down, I'd take Ward-Prowse. I mean, I think he bosses the midfield when he's on his game. I mean, if it comes at edge of box and if he hits him, it's going to top corner. So I like that sort of player in my team. And then I like Jack Clark when he played for Leeds originally. And I think what he's done for Ipswich, I think he's been one of their best players. And I'd love to take him back personally. So that's why I picked them 3. I think they'll be great additions to our squad.
What do you reckon, Tom? You're being the adjudicator on this one so far. Those there, James Trafford, James Ward-Prowse, and Jack Clark from Ipswich.
James Ward-Prowse, he's run his course now. I don't believe that he's a Premier League player anymore. He's good at your set pieces. He's all right. I can see him at Ipswich if they get promoted. Trafford, great goalkeeper. Currently City's number 2, but is he going to get ahead of Donnarumma? Well, he gets played in a lot of the cup competitions, doesn't he? I think Trafford, no disrespect to you, Birchie, mate, would set his bar a little bit higher than Leeds, and that's not me saying that Leeds are a small club by far. I do not believe that. I think Trafford would be looking, if City were to let him go, he's far too good to be a number 2. I think Trafford would be looking at, I don't know, somewhere potentially around the top 6, to be honest. Because I don't rate Chelsea's goalkeeper Sanchez personally. Would City allow him to go there? Potentially. Although Sanchez made a fantastic save against you lot on Sunday. And then Clark, listen, yeah, good player, but never go back. Never go back. But I think the most realistic out of the 3, if I was to say that you put an offer in for all 3 of them, you probably would get JWP, Ward-Prowse. Nice. All be great additions, but I just don't think you could. Certainly, I think Ipswich will come up. They will. They play. Who do they play on this weekend?
QPR, I think they've got.
QPR. They need a win. And Clark, actually, the keeper made a fantastic save last night in the dying embers of the game. And that would have all but mathematically put them up. But, yeah. Yeah, no, it's a good shout. But I think if you were to put that out, I'd say the most realistic one, buddy, with the caveat that Ipswich do get promoted, would be James Ward-Prowse.
Okay, a few more comments coming in. Obviously, John's gone with the Wolves lad Mane. Trafford average. He's saying Trafford is average. Leeds afford Trafford. Ha ha ha. Ward-Prowse quality. Good shout. Bushy is on. Cole Palmer for Man United. Bowen from West Ham. Nobody in the Championship is going to get in Man United. Mr. Ego himself. Clark, mediocre. Bob Dude saying, I think Xavi Simons from Spurs, should they go down? Not sure we could afford his wages, though. He's a hell of a player on his day.
He's injured, isn't he? He's really quite badly injured, I believe.
John Sullivan saying take Richarlison. Again, possibly. But again, there could be a wages thing on that one. So let's have a look at the Forest signings. Just going off what you've said there, I know straight away you're probably going to laugh at one. But let me explain why I've chosen these three players. So in the Forest squad at the minute, I think our forwards are pretty solid at the minute. Give another season for Lorenzo Luca, and I think he's going to probably come out of his shell a little bit. Dylan Backwood is starting to get there as well. So I think forwards-wise, we're pretty strong on. Defensively, Forest have been notoriously quite well with their defence, particularly if we keep hold of Milenkovic and Murillo. We've got Nico Williams and we've got Ola Aina, amongst the smattering of others. I think the biggest place that we're going to struggle next season is midfield. We're likely to lose Elliot Anderson to Man City. We're likely to lose Morgan Gibbs-White just based on his performances and so on and so forth. We're likely to lose Callum Hudson-Odoi as well. So I'm a bit concerned about our midfield and where our midfield is going to be next season. So I may focus on midfielders.
Are you going to go Scott McTominay?
No, I'm not.
All right, sorry. Go on.
Do you know what? He was tinkering in the back of my mind, and I went, no, there's better players than him.
Oh,
so I've gone with these three.
Right. Okay.
So I've gone with Phil Foden. Now you're laughing, Tom. The reason why I've gone with Phil Foden is because of his play time at Man City now. You look at all the players at Man City that are way, way better than Phil Foden. Phil Foden does not sit in that squad at all. And if they get Elliot Anderson as well, he's not going to have any game time next season. So I reckon there could be some sort of arrangement between Elliot Anderson, Phil Foden, so on and so forth. And that's the reason why I went with Phil Foden, because I don't think he's going to get much game time next season. And with Elliot Anderson going to Man City, I think that could be crucial to have a bit of a deal going off there.
Right.
He would get play time at Forest. He'd get a lot of play time.
I'll go through the rest. I'll come to this in a second. Go on.
Going off Tottenham Hotspur and where I feel Tottenham Hotspur are really thinking of going down. I'm thinking about defensive midfielders. Again, obviously, Elliot Anderson leaving. So I'm thinking along those lines. So I've gone with Bissouma for Spurs. I think if Spurs go down, they're going to lose a lot of their players. And I think Bissouma's pretty damn solid defensive midfielder. And then I went for the Middlesbrough player of Hayden Hackney. 38 games played, 8 assists in those 38 games, 6 or 7 goals as well. For a defensive midfielder, I don't think that's bad at 23 years old as well. So again, I feel as though he could be a good investment for somebody like a Forest, maybe a Fulham. That kind of team would be a good investment long term for someone like Hayden Hackney. And that's where I've gone with my three. Now, I've said Phil Foden for quite some time based on the Elliot Anderson scenario. And I think that could be a good shout if that could go over the line.
Phil.
I knew this was coming.
Are we in dream? Are we in like? I don't know what world we're in here.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely.
Right. Listen. First and foremost, let's just say that you did manage to get Phil Foden. The only way you're getting Phil Foden is under this. you indeed win the UEFA Cup, then you get took over by a Saudi consortium. Then you offer Phill Foden double his wages at Manchester City.
I mean, obviously his wages are a thing that's got to be thought about, absolutely. But his wages are like that because he's at City, but he's getting no game time. He's getting no play time whatsoever. And I genuinely think that you could look at a player like Phill Foden. I'm not saying Phill Foden, but you could get a player like Phill Foden for that exchange with Elliot Anderson.
Right? Do you know when I interrupted you? And I do apologise for interrupting you before. Me thinking that you're going to go bizarre and say Scott McTominay. This is 10 levels above bizarre.
I knew it'd get people talking. And mate, trust me, it has. I came off the comments page. And there was about 23 comments when I put my team up. So I knew it was going to get controversial. I knew it was going to get lots of comments coming in. And my lord, it has. Lord, it has.
Listen, Basuma, yeah, whatever. Hackney, yes, but Middlesbrough could still get promoted automatically, I might add. But it's looking more like they're going to be in the playoffs. And who's to say? I mean, obviously... Was it Morgan Rogers Villa brought in from Borough?
Yeah.
I think it was. Obviously, they've got a bit of a, they can spot a player. But Phill Foden, there's more chance of Forest Phill playing for Forest than Phill Foden.
Not with this groin injury, mate. Not with this groin injury.
No, there is. There's more chance of Forest Phill with a groin injury playing for Nottingham Forest than Phill Foden of Manchester City.
Listen, mate, they couldn't afford me. So Bushy's loud and proud tonight. Never signing for Brighton. That's in regards to Richarlison. QPR at home and Millwall have Oxford United. All comes down to Saturday in the Championship. Then Bushy, here we go. Your forwards are shit, Phil. Forest best signing was Hutchinson, according to John. Here we go. No chance Scott is signing for Forest. Forest want Joe Willock. We've got Phill Foden. Fuck me. I'm sure you'd love Phill Foden to do that to you, Bushy. I'll pay for his megabus. More chance of Phil Mitchell. I like that comment. I'm going to star that comment. That's a great one, that is. We've also got Foden on about 300k a week. Absolutely, John. Some of us have got it. You know, you support two very, very bad relegated teams or that are likely to get relegated this season. If Anderson goes to City to get 20% sell on, I doubt that's going to happen, John. You can say that as much as you want, but in football in this day and age, especially with our corrupt chairman, he'll find a way out of that one. Phill Foden, lots of laughing faces. This is the comedy hour. It is. It's got to end the show on a high, Bushy. Hackney would probably be the most realistic, but can he step up to the Prem? Who knows, John? Who knows? But I think it's a good shout. Bissouma is very interesting shout. Not really seen what he's done for Spurs. Mind you, most players Brighton sell end up their flops, being their flops. Bob Belieber. And then John Forrest would have more chance getting Sterling than Foden. You brought Sterling towards me, mate. I'd drop kick him into the middle of next week. Phill Foden, lots of people laughing at Phill Foden. And Tom, no one else in Prem are allowed Saudi owners. Goes against the rules. So unless Newcastle oil barons piss off, which I wouldn't mind, then we will be the only Saudi-owned team.
So, Phil, you should follow that up with your relegation prediction to John.
Yeah, I've already said my relegation prediction. Newcastle United will get relegated this season. They will go down to the Championship. Spurs will survive by the skin of their teeth, just like they did last season. Forest and Leeds, nice and clear, and West Ham just about managing it as well. And it will be Newcastle that disappears. Mark my words. Bookmark it, Aaron now. We'll beat Chelsea 3-0 at the weekend. We'll beat Newcastle 2-0. We'll beat Man United 2-1. And we will beat Bournemouth 3-0 at the end of the season. 12 points. Kiss my arse. Thank you very much. And Newcastle United will be relegated. That's all I've got to say on the matter. And that's where I'm going to end it. And no comments? Lovely. Absolutely fantastic. So, Thank you to everyone for the show tonight. It's been a crazy show. It's been the last 20 minutes has been clearly the comedy hour. But I'm putting it out there, making it loud. I'm proud to know that Forest are on the hunt for Phill Foden. Let's take that off the screen. So tonight we have had 3 fantastic panelists. We've had myself, obviously, the best panelist ever. We've had Turbo Tom with his outrageous claims, more outrageous than me and Phill Foden. And we've also had Bertie tonight. So I want to thank you guys for coming on the show tonight.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Little sneak peek into next week's Wednesday night 8 p.m. show. Next week we will be having what is known as the World Cup preview. It's going to be hosted by our wonderful Turbo Tom at the bottom of here, and it's going to be a show all about the World Cup. So if you are chomping at the bit to get away from this terrible, terrible season with all these relegated teams and with all Arsenal bottling it and so on and so forth, and you want a bit of a lighter, more enjoyment of something that England are probably going to win, we will be on next Wednesday at 8 o'clock talking about all things World Cup.
Can I say something about it, Phil? Is that all right?
Yeah.
So, next week, for anybody who's still tuned in to delusional Phill and Phill Foden going to Forest, next week indeed will be the World Cup show. And I want to ask you, gentlemen, and indeed anybody who is listening this evening, I want you to either, if you know me, message me your all-time World Cup 11, or come and join us live next week and post your World Cup 11, and we shall discuss. The only caveat of the World Cup 11 is, much like Fantasy Premier League, which will be back on Friday, Phil, will it?
It is Friday at 6 o'clock because the game week ends at 6:30 tomorrow.
The only caveat is you're allowed your 11 players and is it 5 on the bench? Is it 5 or 4 on the bench?
Yeah, 5 on the bench.
No, you're not allowed to have 3 players from the same country. So I want your World Cup squad with a maximum of 3 from each country for your all-time World Cup team. Join us next week, 8 o'clock, live, and we'll discuss the World Cup, and then we'll also discuss the greatest World Cup team in your opinion. Back to you, Phil.
Thank you, Tom. Absolutely fantastic. Cannot wait for that show next week. Also, can't wait for your Sunday show, Tom. Rate 'em or slate 'em.
Indeed.
I might rouse my pointy little head on that show. And
be a big weekend. Be a big one.
When Forest beat Chelsea 3-0, I will be
there you go.
sitting pretty. Absolutely. Got to have these hopes and aspirations in life. Just for anybody that doesn't know, that's watching this show and going, oh, I wonder how the Champions League is going on at the minute. Atletico Madrid are currently drawing now with Arsenal.
Oh, on all, is it?
That game. I want to thank everybody for watching tonight. I want to thank everybody in the comments. Thank you so much. You make this show. This show is not possible without you. Don't forget, we've obviously got another channel. We've got the Millers channel, and which includes our EFL show, which is on a Tuesday night. We've got Monday Night Millers, and we've also got Midweek Millers on that channel. So make sure you jump on YouTube and follow at KB Terrace Talk, and make sure that you're following both of our channels. Tom will be back on Sunday. I will be back on Friday for the FPL show. So if you want any hints, tips, or pointers, even though I'm doing terrible in FPL at the minute, but if you do want any hints, tips, or pointers, please watch that show on Friday. It will be on at 6 o'clock, the earlier time, because the game week ends at 6:30 on Friday for the Friday night games. So please feel free to jump on this channel for the FPL show, and then don't forget Tom's show on Sunday for Rating at Satan at 8 o'clock. But for now, it's good night from me, Bertie, and Tom, and we'll see you all on the next stream. Bye, everyone.